Hello, yogis. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Trauma 15 module. I am so excited to be here with you. My name is Jill Enticknap. I am the lead trainer and the owner of Yogi Institute. Yogi Institute is a registered 200-hour yoga school, 300-hour yoga school, and a continued education provider. So the Trauma 15 module is, it's fully available online, and you work through it at your own pace. And it isn't about so much incorporating trauma awareness into our actual sequences. It's about gaining the knowledge and understanding of what trauma is, the different forms of trauma, so that if someone is in the studio and they have a trauma response, we know what to do, we understand what's happening within them. Another reason I feel that it's really important to have some trauma knowledge as a yoga teacher is because this practice, the practice of yoga, it unlocks different feelings, different emotions, different experiences within our body. There's a phrase called that I say, our issues are in our tissues. And yoga has us moving our body and getting more deeply into our tissues. And as we do that, we actually can tap into some things that are deeper within us, maybe even in our subconscious that we're unaware of. And so if a student has an emotional response or a trauma response in class, we need the knowledge of what's happening inside of them so that we can hold and create a safe space for them to have whatever experience they're having. So just as an example, as a teacher, I have taught a class. A student comes out of class, she is like in tears, she's having this completely emotional reaction. And when she walked into class, she was happy, she was good, she, not in that way. And whatever happened on her mat, something unlocked, something released, and she was having this response. And I needed the knowledge, the wisdom to be able to comfort her, to be able to hold that space, to be able to help her understand what was actually happening inside of her. And that is why I included this Trauma 15 module in the Yoga 300 program, or as a continued education module. So this welcome video is really to go through what you're going to need for the program, the outline of the program, how it works. So there's going to be 14 hours of curriculum online, and then there are going to be 2 things that you need to submit in order to receive the completion certification for this program. So after you've watched all of the videos, some of the videos are with me and they're coming from the Yogi Institute manual, and then there's also multiple videos from industry professionals giving us a deeper understanding of trauma, how it occurs, when it occurs, what it can manifest and look like when it occurs, and also where it can come from. We look at childhood, we look at little t, we look at big T, and what the difference between those is. We look at how it can manifest, how it can be released, what that can look like. So we really cover a lot, and we draw in the expertise of other industry professionals to help us gain a deeper understanding. And for myself, having this knowledge also helped me to understand me more, to understand my own trauma. I believe that we have all experienced trauma in our life in some way, and it's our awareness of whatever that thing was to know and understand how it happened, and if it's affecting us still to this day, or if it's something that we've been able to move through and heal. So we gain such a deeper understanding of our own trauma, but the two requirements to receive a completion certification for this training program are: one, I need your top 5 takeaways from the videos that we watch of the professionals, of the wellness professionals, the trauma professionals. So top 5 takeaway. And then I need a trauma protocol from you. So you are going to create your own trauma protocol if someone is having a trauma response in your class, or after your class, or before your class, or really any time in life. When we actually put the time into developing this type of protocol, we can incorporate it into any part of our life. So maybe you're a teacher and a student is having a trauma response. With this kind of trauma protocol, you are able to support them in that response. Maybe you're a nurse, maybe you are a veterinarian, maybe you're a first responder. You know, there's a lot of different areas in life. I mean, trauma can happen at the grocery store or in the park. It doesn't have to be even within your work or what you do. And so when you take the time to actually say, okay, if someone's having a trauma response, this is going to be my reaction. So the first thing, like just as an example, would be to assure them that they're not alone. Have them, you know, if it really depends on the type of situation, but assure them that whatever they're feeling is safe to feel. And if it is in a yoga class, which is where I would like you to focus for your trauma protocol, if it is in a yoga class, having them sit down, having them take a few deep breaths, having them acknowledge what they're feeling in their body. But all of this will become clear to you, and you'll create your own trauma protocol as you gain the knowledge and watch the different videos. So those are the 2 things that are required. Now, I can, when you complete this course, you're going to send me an email with those 2 things, and I'm going to go in the back end of your training portal and just make sure that you've watched all of the videos, and then I'll read through your protocols, and then I'll send you back your certification and register that with Yoga Alliance. So again, just to clarify how this training is, how the time of this training is distributed. So we have 14 hours of online practicum, and there is 1 office hour session that is required. Right now, office hours are Friday from 10 to 11 Central Time. If you can't make that, please reach out to me. And this is a time for us to connect. This is a time for you to bring any questions that you have that the training has brought up. And it is a time for me to support you in a very real way, like one-on-one, or there may be other students who have registered for that office hour. And so you'll come on and you'll be able to hear whatever conversation with them, whatever questions they might have too. So it's in the schedule, you'll register for a office hours, and then we will meet live and connect. And like I said, if that doesn't fit in your schedule, please email me and let me know that the 10 to 11 time doesn't fit for you, and we can find something else that does. But if you can make that work, I would really appreciate that you make that work. So the Yogi Institute manual is the only thing that you really need for this training, though the suggested reading is The Body Keeps Score by Bessel A. Vanderkolk. And I have that on Audible. And then I also have the book. It's quite a heavy book. It can be, for me, it's quite challenging to hear, to listen to. And I do want to share this as well. So as we do trauma work and as we dive into trauma work, I want you to be really aware of nurturing yourself and taking care of yourself. So it can be triggering, it can be challenging, it can bring up different emotions as we go through this work. And so being really aware and gentle with yourself, with what's going on for you as you move through this training, is really, really important. So if there is, you know, for me, when I deal with heavy things, with challenging emotions, with big emotions, with trauma and that kind of thing, I have things that I do for myself to know how to process these difficult things. So for example, my yoga practice, moving my body, sweating, those things are a tool that I use to help me deal with the big emotions. Another thing is I use water a lot. So whether that is showers or baths, even just washing my hands can be a very cleansing type of action. Being aware of what you put in your body, being aware of what you put in your mind. So just throughout this training process, throughout this training program, really nurturing yourself in whatever way that you feel nurtured. So maybe it's meditation, maybe it's singing, maybe it's dancing, maybe it's being out in nature and hiking and maybe taking some time to connect to nature, or maybe that's where you like to reflect on the information. But this really is a deep dive into you, into your understanding of trauma, and it is created to prepare you with knowledge and with a premeditated plan if someone in your yoga class has a trauma response. So the Yogi Institute manual is under the resources section of this training portal. Download it. There are spaces for you to take notes. We're going to start off by going through and looking at what trauma is, how trauma affects the nervous system. We're going to define the different types of trauma: physical, spiritual, PTSD, complex trauma. We're going to look at how we know we're dysregulated if the nervous system is dysregulated, and what we can do to bring it back into regulation. We look at the koshas, and this is probably, this knowledge and understanding and applying the trauma information to koshas is probably one of the, oh my gosh. Applying the trauma knowledge to the koshas is probably one of the biggest gifts that this practice has to offer us, because it is directly connected. It gives us a direct understanding as to how our yoga practice can really create a trauma response, but also how it can create healing in our bodies. From a very physical way, it can help us to cultivate that healing. So, and then we start to look at how we can rebalance the nervous system and tools for trauma, and then how we create a safe space and what that means, because to me, that's one of the most important things that we do for students is we create a safe space for them. And to me, that's what the yoga shala is. That's what the yoga space is. But we start that as yoga teachers by creating a safe space for ourselves. And we do that by having the knowledge and understanding of what trauma is and what our own trauma is. And we go through the process of healing and connecting to our own trauma. So we will go through all of that together. and just really deepen our understanding. So this isn't meant to trigger you. This isn't meant for you to go through this massive healing process. This is about educating you on what to do if someone is having a trauma response, and about your own what to do